Hello and welcome to the history of Stargate Atlantis. Today's episode we're going to be covering Teyla Emmagan. Emmagan. Man. Today we're going to be covering Teyla Emmagan, Part 1. And here we go. Teyla Emmagan is a leader of the Athosians from the planet Athos, and was the first to speak to the Atlantis expedition. She is an original member of the Atlantis Reconnaissance 1. She is the daughter of Tagan and Torin Emmagan. She lost both of them by a young age. Teyla has a rare ability to sense the Wraith, due to one of her ancestors having Wraith DNA spliced into their genetic makeup. Since this was discovered, she has been able to make contact with the Wraith minds on occasion, with varying degrees of success. Teyla's leadership qualities are very respected in Atlantis, and she is often considered the unofficial third-in-command of Atlantis, and has occasionally been left in charge when both the current leader of the expedition and Lieutenant Colonel John Shepard are away. 2004. When Colonel Marshall Sumner and Major John Shepard's team arrives on Athos, she greets them. She could tell that Sumner didn't respect her, but Shepard did. When Sumner wished to search the abandoned city, she warned against it. Later, she showed Shepard the caves where her ancestors hid from the Wraith. Once inside, Shepard found a necklace that she had lost years ago. On the way back, 3 Wraith darts came through the Stargate. She was beamed into one of the darts and taken to the Wraith homeworld. She awoke on a Wraith hive ship, and Torin was the first chosen. She was rescued by Shepard and Lieutenant Ford, and saved Ford's life on the way to the puddle jumper. They made it to the jumper safely and returned to Atlantis. She later joined the Atlantis Reconnaissance 1 team with Shepard, Ford, and Dr. Rodney McKay. When her team encountered the Wraith for the 5th time in 9 missions, Dr. Elizabeth Weir concluded that there must be a spy in the city. Weir set up new security protocols and restricted the movements of the Athosians, despite her rejections that none of her people would be working with the Wraith. When Halling and several other Athosians were thinking of leaving Atlantis, she convinced them to stay as the investigation would only prove their innocence. During the puddle jumper exploration of Lantia, Major John Shepard and Lieutenant Ford discovered the mainland. When Halling wished to move to the mainland, she decided to stay in the city and was concerned for them. After the Athosians relocated to the mainland, she and her team traveled to an unnamed planet. While deciphering ruins, Shepard sent her with Ford to find the inhabitants to help with translations. While they were away, the Wraith attacked the ruins. Cut off from the Stargate and abandoned by the rest of their team, Teyla and Ford were forced to fight their way back to the gate. During the fight, Ford dove out of the way of the Wraith's stun blast and hit his head, knocking him unconscious. Teyla managed to drag him through the gate to safety. When they returned to Atlantis, Sergeant Bates accused her of working with the Wraith and had Dr. Rodney McKay search her belongings. He found the necklace that Shepard had found in the Athosian caves and discovered it was a Wraith transmitter designed to detect agents. She then joined the rest of her team on an ambush to capture a Wraith on the same planet. They were successful and able to capture Steve the Wraith. On a mission to Hoth, she warned the Hothans that if they used the Hothan drug, that the Wraith might wipe them out as being an inconvenience. When Steve the Wraith was brought to Hoth in order to test the drug, she helped guard him. When half the people received the drug fell ill, she assisted Dr. Carson Beckett in trying to treat them, but most of the people died, including Perna. After the discovery of M5S-224's powerful atmosphere, she traveled to Earth with Major John Shepard to brief Stargate Command on the situation in the Pegasus Galaxy. After the briefing, Shepard took her shopping, and then to his apartment. When some of Shepard's deceased friends began to arrive, he knew something was wrong, and he shot one of them to see if it was real. Fortunately, this was all an illusion created by the inhabitants of the planet, and she never actually left Pegasus. 2005. While sparring in the Atlantis gym with Major John Shepard, a team of scientists released an ancient nanovirus. They were told by Dr. Elizabeth Weir to stay put as she quarantined the city. When Dr. Peterson breached the quarantine, Shepard ordered Sergeant Bates to open the doors on the gym despite Weir's refusal. They put on hazmat suits and were able to find Peterson. He ran for a transporter and Shepard shot him, but not before he entered the transporter and transported to the mess hall. Once he entered the mess hall, the city's sensors detected the virus, and the city entered a quarantine lockdown. Once they realized that they could move through the city because of their hazmat suits, she headed for the mess hall to calm everyone down, and Shepard went to McKay's lab. Once in the mess hall, she was attacked by Lieutenant Crown, and her hazmat suit was torn, exposing her to the virus. Fortunately, Major John Shepard was able to overload a Quadria generator, causing an electromagnetic pulse, which deactivated the nanites. Later, she and a team went to Dacon to search for Zero Point Module. After an alternate Elizabeth Weir gave them 5 addresses with a guaranteed ZPN on them. When they discovered the Quintessism chamber, she entered the chamber with the rest of her team, while Lieutenant Adrian Ford stayed above ground. Ford was then shot with a tranquilizer dart and knocked out by Commander Coyla's men. Coyla took Dr. Rodney McKay and Elena to help him locate the ZPM and put them in the chamber. She, along with Major John Shepard and Ford, came up with a plan to ambush Coyla and his men with stun grenades. After Shepard retrieved the ZPM, they sprung the trap and overtook the Janai. The team had acquired a ZPM, but since McKay told Elena, who was a member of the new Quintessism, that the Atlantis expedition weren't the Lanteans that they hoped, she took the ZPM until the Ancients came back to reward them, despite the fact that they had all ascended. Have a most fantastic day. Goodbye.